Okay, so this is the next video in the series. What we're looking at is light emitting diodes, or LEDs. So in front of you, I've gone through and I've picked out the main LEDs that we see. We've got some things over on the right hand side panel that look like they might be LEDs, and they might be related. This is a sensor, this is a photoresistor. These are diodes, and so that's where the name kind of comes from. And a diode, in a nutshell, is a semiconductor that allows electrons to travel only in one direction. If you look at the other panel, you have a whole bunch of LEDs that are sort of a little bit more sophisticated, and we'll get into those because they can be fun. This is kind of a ring, and they're called programmable LEDs, and they're very popular. And then even in a remote, so if you have a TV remote, often there's an LED in the front of it, and when you press any button, it'll be sending a signal to whatever you're trying to control. So this is intended for an introduction course, so we're not going to get too sophisticated with this. With this battery, we can set the number of cells that it has. So, and with these LEDs, so this is just your standard LED, and you can set the type of it. So you can go everything from white to green to blue, and you can kind of do it on the fly. Now, if you have watched the video that I recommended for this lesson, you will know that there's a reason for each color, and it's kind of a mixture between two compounds that make the colors. This one here on the right is a RGB LED. So the R stands for red, the G stands for green, and the B stands for blue. And so we'll show you how that works right away, but we'll first deal with this one. So you can see that it's barely lit, and different colors will be different brightnesses. So maybe if I change to red or green, I don't know if green, let's turn it on and off. So it's not really noticeable, but you can change it. And if you change the number of batteries, so if I go up to 2 batteries and then I hit the simulate button, it immediately turns brighter, but it also blows up. So we would have to put a resistor. And we haven't dealt with resistors very much, but you can see that I have one in this circuit. And I can delete that wire, and I can change it back to black, and I can bring that LED, or sorry, I can bring the resistor into the circuit, and I can hit simulate, and now it's not blowing up, and it's not even giving us a warning. And I can change the voltage level by increasing the number of cells, and let's see if we can get it to get a little nervous. So even when I go to 4 cells, it still doesn't give us a warning. Now you could play with this value of the resistor. So right now it's quite high, so it's a 1000 ohm resistor. Now we could change that and make it, I don't know, 500 ohms, so that would be half the value that we had. And then we can turn it on, and we can keep playing with that value of the resistor until it gets to the point where it blows up. So you can see that when I was playing with the value, as it went to like 20 or 2, it did in fact blow up. Okay, so the next part of the simulation is just taking a look at this dip switch. Now I have the common ground going to the cathode of the LED, and that is limited by a resistor. So when I turn this dip switch on, it sends electricity to this side, which is the red one, and that lights up. So if I turn it off and then I go to the next one, it's blue, and when I click it on, it's blue. And the last one was the green, and we can keep doing that. Now the interesting thing with this is that if I turn 2 of them on at once, it's a mixture between green and blue, and so you can play with that. And if I turn them all on, in electronics, when you have all of them on, then it's white. And so if you have an RGB setup in, say, your TV or monitor, so if you were to zoom in on this monitor, you would realize that we actually have these type of LEDs in this setup. So we can get any color that you want by varying the value of these LEDs. So I'm just simply turning them on and off and getting the main colors, but you can actually set them to certain values. So they're not exactly turned fully on, and so they can kind of mix, and you can get every color that you possibly want. Okay, so your assignment for this one is to build a setup and then start playing with different aspects. So you could have different power supplies, you can have different values for the resistors, you can have a whole bunch of LEDs. Our last lesson was on switches, so you could bring in a bunch of different switches and try them out and add in the LEDs with them. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. There's also a theory video that I've included in on this lesson for my class people in my electronics class, but there's tons of information available on the internet. Anyways, good luck, have fun with that.